Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad we get to meet this way. Such a rare opportunity. 20 years ago, it couldn't have happened, and 20 years from now, it may not be able to happen again. We don't know. But here we are in this moment. And how can we make the best use of this time together? I don't know why you're here, but I know why I'm here. I am here for you to wake up and be free, to end the cycle of suffering. That's the only reason I'm here. You may be here for any number of reasons. You may be here because you want more information. You may be here because you're just checking things out. You may be here because you get high from the meetings. You may be here because you want insights. But if you want what I want, which is for you to wake up and be free in this moment, that's where we meet. That's a true meeting. Someone asked me the other day about the student-teacher relationship, which I haven't really put any attention on in a long time. So to really understand the student-teacher relationship, first you have to know who is the student and who is the teacher. If the student is someone who wants to learn something or wants to master something, there's a teacher for everything that you can learn or master. In Sanskrit, the word teacher means guru. There's a guru for everything. When I first came back from Japan in the 80s and I was bringing in these massive boulders, I was building a Zen rock garden in our front yard, I had a rock guru. David could look at a boulder, and we didn't have any heavy equipment. We were just using crowbars and rollers. And he could see the leverage points. He could see if we all push it this way, it's going to turn that way. And this is the face, and this is the back. And from him I learned so much. So my relationship with my rock guru was a transactional one. I paid him for his time, and he taught me his craft. It was a fair and equal exchange. We both were happy and satisfied. And when it was over, that relationship was over. But most relationships that people have in this world are transactional in that way. I do something for you and you do something for me. I'll pay you this and you'll give me that. Or I'll be the left hand, you'll be the right hand, and we'll do something in common to get something done. And once it's done, we go our separate ways. That's true in intimate relationships as well, usually. I'll make the money, you'll cook the food, or I'll drive the car and you do the dishes, or whatever the power dynamics in the couple are, they're transactional usually. I'll do this and you'll do that, and we support each other. My first guru was Swami Muktananda. Swami Muktananda had the most powerful Shakti energy that I'd ever experienced. Now his practice was guru worship. That he said, you worship me as the God that lives within you. That was the teaching. And I tried to do that. I sat at the ashram every morning at 5:30 and I meditated. I had incredible experiences. I was once told if you touch his feet when he walks out of the meditation, and so I put my hand out and touched his foot, and the electricity went up my arm, through my body, and I started hallucinating. And I tried to worship him as the God within me, but I couldn't. It wasn't real. But when I met my final teacher, there was no question or doubt. There was nothing there but love. I loved him, as I do. I just could not believe my good luck that I was sitting in the presence of someone alive, awake, free, sitting right in front of me, looking back at me, letting me know, yes, yes. It stopped my mind, blew up in my heart, and I was finished. I didn't have to try to worship him like the guru within me. I didn't have to do anything. I just loved him. I loved sitting at his feet. I loved kissing his feet. Kissing my beloved's feet was one of the most blissful. He didn't have Muktananda Shakti. That wasn't his thing. His Shakti was silence. And this is what I've been searching for, and this is what I love. And so in falling in love with him, I surrendered fully. And I gave my life. Use me as you will. I remember in my first meeting with him, going up onto the roof of my hotel and meditating and trying to give my life force to him. That if I die here on this spot today, I am fulfilled. And if my 43-year-old life force can enrich and nourish this 80-year-old Buddha, I give it gladly. That's nothing was ever asked. He would never ask me to do that. He wouldn't want me to. So, what he wants and what he doesn't want. So the teacher, my guru, had very strong ideas about everything. You know, he was not psychologically sophisticated in terms of knowing his fixation or dealing with his fixation or dealing with his personality. It was all out as it was. And he was living as a sexual eight, and so he had lots of opinions. He had lots of ideas. Didn't matter. Completely irrelevant to what was real. And there were times when he would tell me to do things. And like I saw, the first thing he said was, he wanted this to be passed on. He said, a candle that lights other candles is one thing, but a candle that lights other candles that light other candles is something else. That was his request to me. And that's what I'm passing on to you. You have the possibility to be a candle that lights other candles that light other candles. That's the living transmission. And also, that doesn't mean that I had to do everything he said. You don't give yourself blindly to someone else's control. The first time he wanted me to do satsang, I said, no, actually my wife is the Satguru. You have to meet my wife. And so we went to Hardwar, where he had his rented rooms, and I went to find the most suitable accommodations to bring my wife to meet him. And I did, and Gangaji has changed the world. She was the Satguru, I knew that. But then he asked me to have satsang again a couple of years later. He said, he wrote me a letter, you can have satsang. And he named these places, Boulder and Seattle and Mill Valley, and I wouldn't do it. Gangaji was already having satsang there. Didn't need me as competition. I wouldn't bring in anybody that she hasn't already met. There was no point to it. So I passed again. And then everybody was doing satsang. There was satsang dancing and satsang chanting and satsang parties, and it was a nightmare. And the third time he sent me, I agreed. And I went to Amsterdam and started satsang. When I got there, it was being held in an Osho bar, kind of meditation bar. I'd never seen anything like it, and I was there, I said, to clean up the pool. It's time to clean up the pool. So that was my relationship with my teacher. And he had his with his. And one of the things he gave me, one of the pieces of advice, he said, if you're looking for a teacher, be very careful of anybody who has given themselves a spiritual name. He said, either your teacher gives you a name or your students give you a name. Ramana Maharshi was named by his students. Papaji was named by his students. But the ones who give themselves spiritual names, he said, is only the ego disguising itself as something else. So, be forewarned. So the relationship with a true teacher, a Satguru, which is different from a guru. Guru is teacher. Satguru has, my teacher said, a true teacher, a Satguru, has no teaching, and the student has no head. And that's where the meeting is. And so, that's the possibility. And then what's your relationship with that? Depends on what you want, what you're willing to live for, what you're willing to die for. I mean, are you willing to live your life as a sacrifice to the liberation of all beings? If you are, that's what you will find. If you're not, that's what you will find. Very simple. In any moment you can see, are you suffering or not? I'm not talking about relative happiness, relative calm, relative pleasure. I'm talking about really at the depths. If you're happy and you're fulfilled and you're silent and at peace, stay as you are. If you're not, tell the truth of what you've sold yourself to instead of that.